Hello, my friends. We are back with the 5th initiation task. I wanted to do this video as kind of a vlog style of different things I saw throughout the month of October, since October is pretty much over. So I hope that you enjoy these little videos that I've collected over these past few weeks. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. And if you hear anything in the background, it's just the dogs acting like fools. If you are new, we have been reading the story of Vasilisa the Wise and learning about the different initiation tasks that a woman has to go through during her life. And we are reading The Women Who Run with the Wolves. And today we're starting on page 98, if you wanted to read along. Serving the non-rational. In this part of the tale, Vasilisa has asked Baba Yaga for fire, and the Yaga agrees, but only if Vasilisa will do some household chores for her in exchange. The psychic tasks of this time of learning are these: stay with the hag, accumulating the great wildish powers of the feminine psyche, coming to realize her, which is your power, and the powers of inner purifications, unsoiling, sorting, nourishing, building energy and ideas, washing the Yaga's clothes, cooking for her, cleaning the house, and sorting out the elements. Not so long ago, women were deeply involved in the rhythms of life and death. They inhaled the pungent odor of iron from the fresh blood of childbirth. They washed the cooling bodies of the dead as well. The psyches of modern women, especially those from industrial and technological cultures, often are deprived of these close-up and hands-on, blessed and basic experiences. But there is a way for the novice to fully participate in the sensitive aspects of the life and death cycles. Baba Yaga, the Wild Mother, is the teacher whom we can consult in these matters. She instructs the ordering of the house of the soul. She imbues an alternate order of the ego, one where magic can happen, joy can be done, appetite is intact, things are accomplished with gusto. Baba Yaga is the model for being true to the self. She teaches both death and renewal. In the tale, she teaches Vasilisa how to care for the psychic house of the wild feminine. Laundering the Baba Yaga's clothes is a fabulous symbol. In the old countries, and still today, in order to launder one's clothes, one must ascend to the river, and there must make the ritualistic oblations that people have made since the beginning of time in order to renew the cloth. This is a very fine symbol for the cleansing and purification of the entire bearing of the psyche. In mythology, the woven cloth is the work of the life mothers. For instance, in the East, there are 3 fates: Clotho, Laichis, and Atropos. In the West, there is Na Ashe Azda, who is the spider woman, who gave the gift of the weaving to the Dini, who is the Navajo. These life mothers teach women sensitivity to what must die and what shall live, what shall be carded out, to what shall be woven in. In the tale, Baba Yaga charges Vasilisa do the laundry to bring this weaving, these patterns known to the life goddess, out into the open, to the consciousness, handling them, washing them, renewing them. To wash something is a timeless purification ritual. It not only means to purify, it also means, like baptism from the Latin baptiza, to drench, to permeate with a spiritual numen and mystery. In the tale, the washing is the first task. It means to make taut again that which has become slackened from the wearing. The clothes are like us, worn until our ideas and values are slackened by the passing of time. The renewal, the reviving, takes place in the water, in the rediscovering of what we really hold to be true, what we really hold sacred. In archetypal symbolism, clothing represents persona, the first view the public gains of us. Persona is a kind of camouflage which lets others know only what we wish them to know about us, and nothing more. But there is an older meaning to persona, one founded in all the Mesoamerican rites, one well known to the cantadoras y cuentistas y cuanduras. I'm not sure if that's right. Healers. The persona is not simply a mask to hide behind, but rather a presence which eclipses the mundane personality. In this sense, persona, or mask, is a signal of rank, virtue, character, and authority. It is the outward significator, the outward display of mastery. I like very much this initiatory task, which requires the woman to cleanse the persona, the clothing of authority of the great Baba Yaga of the forest. By washing the Yaga's clothes, the initiate herself will see how the seams of persona are sewn, what patterns the gown take. Soon, she will have some measures of these personae to place in her closet amidst others she has fashioned throughout her life. It is easy to imagine that the Yaga's marks of power and authority, her clothes, are made as she herself is fashioned psychologically, strong, enduring. To wash her laundry is a metaphor through which we learn to witness, examine, and to take on this combination of qualities. We learn how to sort, mend, and renew the instinctive psyche through purificado, the washing of the fibers of being. Vasilisa's next task is to sweep the hut and the yard. In Eastern European fairy tales, brooms are often made of sticks of trees and bushes, and sometimes the roots of wiry plants. Vasilisa's work is to sweep this object made of plant matter over the floors and the yard to keep the place clear of debris. A wise woman keeps her psychic environ uncluttered. She accomplishes such by keeping a clear head, keeping a clear place for her work, and working at completing her ideas and projects. For many women, this task requires that they clear a time each day for their contemplation, for a space to live in that is clearly their own, with paper, pens, paints, tools, conversations, times, freedoms, that are all for this work only. For many, psychoanalysis, contemplation, meditation, the taking of solitude, and other experiences of descent and transformative provide this special time and place for the work. Each woman has her own preferences, her own way. If this work can take place in the Baba Yaga's hut, so much the better. Even near the hut is better than far away. In any event, one's wildlife must be kept in order on the regular basis. It is not good enough to go to it for one day, or for a few, or once a year. But because it is Baba Yaga's hut that Vasilisa sweeps, because it is Baba Yaga's yard, we are also speaking of keeping unusual ideas clear and ordered. These ideas include those which are uncommon, mystical, soulful, and uncanny. To sweep the premises means not only to begin to value the non-superficial life, but to care for its orderliness. Sometimes women become confused about soul work and neglect its architecture till it is taken back by the forest. Gradually, the structure of the psyche are overgrown until they finally are but a hidden archaeologic ruin in the psyche's unconscious. A cyclical and critical sweeping will prevent this from occurring. When women have cleared space, the wild nature will better thrive. To cook for Baba Yaga, we ask literally, how does one feed the Yaga of the psyche? What does one feed so a wild goddess? Firstly, to cook for the Yaga, one lays a fire. A woman must be willing to burn hot, burn with passion, burn with words, with ideas, with desire for whatever it is that she truly loves. It is actually this passion which causes the cooking, and a woman's original ideas of substance are what is cooked. To cook for the Yaga, one must arrange that one's creative life has a consistent fire under it. Most of us would do better if we became more adept to the watching of the fire of our work, if we watched more closely the cooking process for nourishing the wild self. Too often we turn away from the pot, from the oven. We forget to watch, forget to add fuel, forget to stir. We mistakenly think that the fire and the cooking are like one of those feisty houseplants that can go without water for 8 months before the poor thing kneels over. It is not so. The fire requires watching, for it is easy to let the flame go out. The Yaga must be fed. There is hell to pay if she goes hungry. So it is the cooking up of the new and completely original things, of new directions, of commitments to one's arts and work that continuously nourish the wild soul. These same things nourish the old wild mother and give her substance in our psyches. Without that fire, our great ideas, our original thoughts, our yearning and longings remain uncooked, and everyone is unfulfilled. On the other hand, anything we do which has fire will please her and nourish us all. In the development of woman, all these motions of homekeeping, the cooking, the washing, the sweeping, quantifying something beyond the ordinary, all these metaphors offer ways to think about, to measure, feed, nourish, strengthen, cleanse, order the soul life. In all these things, Vasilisa is initiated, and her initiation helps her accomplish these tasks. The intuitive nature carries the ability to measure things at a glance, to weigh in an instant, to clear off the debris around an idea, and to name the essence of the thing, to fire it with validity, to cook raw ideas, to make food for the psyche. Vasilisa, through the doll of initiation, is learning to sort, understand, keep order, and to clear and clean the psychic premises. Additionally, she learns that the wild mother requires much nourishment in order to do her work. Baba Yaga cannot be put on a lettuce leaf and black coffee diet. If one wishes to be close to her, one has to realize that she has an appetite for certain things. If one is to have a relationship with the ancient feminine, one must cook up much. Through these chores, Baba Yaga teaches, and Vasilisa learns not to cringe away from the big, the mighty, the cyclical, the unforeseen, the unexpected, the vast and grand scale which is the size of nature, the odd, the strange, and the unusual. Women's cycles, according to Vasilisa's tasks, are these: to cleanse one's thinking, renew one's values on a regular basis, to clear one's psyche of trivia, sweep one's self, clean up one's thinking and feeling states on a regular basis, to build an enduring fire beneath the creative life, and to cook up ideas on a systematic basis. Means especially to cook, and with originality, a lot of unprecedented life in order to feed the relationship between oneself and the wildish nature. Vasilisa, via her time with the Yaga, will eventually integrate some of the manner and style of the Yaga, and we too, it is our job, in our own limited way, to pattern ourselves after her. And as we learn to do, we are awed at the same time, for in Baba Yaga land, there are things that fly in the night and are arisen again at daybreak, all summoned and bidden by the wild instinctual nature. There are the bones of the dead which still speak, and there are the winds and fates and the suns and the moon and the sky, which all live in her great trunk. But she keeps order. Day follows night, season follows season. She is not haphazard. She is both rhyme and reason. In the story, the Yaga finds Vasilisa has completed all the tasks set before her, and the Yaga is pleased, but also a little disappointed that she cannot rail against the girl. And so, just to make sure Vasilisa doesn't take anything for granted, Baba Yaga lets her know, though you managed to do my work once, doesn't mean you can do it again. So here's another day of tasks. Let's see how you do, dearie, or else. Vasilisa, again, via the aegis of intuitive guidance, accomplishes the work, and the Yaga gives her the grumpy and begrudging stamp of approval, the kind that always comes from the old women who have lived a long time, and who have seen much, and somewhat wish they hadn't, and are rather proud they have. And that completes our fifth initiation task. I'm going to put a Akari outside, which is learning to serve the non-rational. So, right before this, we learned that we had to face the wild hag, right? Just kind of the wildish side who lives in a cauldron that spins and has chicken legs, and it's a little weird, right? So we had to face her and see who she is and be introduced to her first. And after that, we had to learn that with meeting her comes serving the non-rational. And one of the first things that happens through this fifth initiation task is our life consistently comes with a death and a renewal. We have to learn what shall die and what shall live. And through the laundry process, right, we learn that handling them, washing them, and renewing them is what is going to fix the slack, right? The slacking of our clothes, because if you wear a t-shirt a lot, right, and you never wash it, it gets really wrinkly and loose. The neckline starts sagging, and your sleeves start becoming a little bit loose. It almost starts draping down to your legs. But what happens the second that you place that shirt into some water, right? You start to see the stitching. You start to see where the wrinkles are. You start to see some of the patterns that were starting to create themselves. You might see some of the patches that you had to sew, or maybe some tears you had to mend. You have to take off your persona. You have to take off this body that we wear on that. Well, let's see what that noise was. Oh, jeez. Okay. Hey, we're fine. We are under control. What are you barking at? Hey, stay inside. Kuru. Thank you. Can we all go back to our places and... Hey, okay, now is not the time to start wrestling. Oh my goodness. Okay. Akari, leave him alone. Thank you. Akari loves to pick on Oblio sometimes, just randomly. And sometimes Oblio doesn't feel it. So anyway. We have to take off this thing that we're wearing upon ourselves, right? The thing that we wear in front of everybody else. The mask, in a sense, that we wear, you know? And I love the fact that she says this mask isn't really a mask. It's almost an eclipse to who we really are. So that's what our outside appearance, I really think that's important of what it should represent, you know? What do we want other people to see? And I think once we take off what we've been wearing and we're able to look at it, wash it, literally feel it in our hands and see what we're dealing with, we're able to see what kind of needs some purification, right? And what's even more crazy is we learn through going to the wild Yaga's house, she is still doing that same task. She is a wild woman who has experienced probably multiple dimensions and worlds and explored multiple forests. And she still takes the time to purify her clothing. She still sees what her cloths are stitched of. And I think it's beautiful that Vasilisa is able to wash Baba Yaga's clothing. She's not just ordered to wash her own clothes. She's allowed to wash Baba Yaga's clothes. Baba Yaga trusts Vasilisa with her clothing so she can see what a wild woman is made of, what a wild woman's psyche is supposed to be woven like. You know, I think that's beautiful. And the thing that is, hey, you guys, I'm almost done with my video. Okay. So what I thought was really, you know what, let them, we're at Baba Yaga's house, and Baba Yaga must just have, like she says, animals that want to run free, so let them run free. I just don't want it to be distracting for you guys. I'm going to put them outside. Hey, you guys, let's take this party outside. Yep, there you go. Jesus, like bats out of hell. Okay, so sorry. In my notes, I wrote, wash your fibers of being. It is so important for us to see that the habits we have fallen into are literally able to be shown on our clothes, on our persona. We might think we're hiding things or something that happened a few years ago we haven't washed ourselves of. Other people can see it. Maybe you accidentally sat in some like dookie outside when you were in the forest and nobody ever told you. So you're walking around with like a little shit stain on your back and you know, other people can see it and they might look at you and say, wait. And then you look at yourself like, dang, that's why I've been feeling a little bit mucky. You know, I haven't sat down and seen who I've become. And going out into the woods and finding Baba Yaga's house and washing a real wild woman's clothes will really, really put into perspective what we're dealing with on a personal basis, on a novice basis. It's crazy. It's so cool. So then what do we do next? She's like, all right, you washed my you washed my clothes. Now I need you to sweep my yard and my hut with my broom made of plants. A wise woman has to keep a clear head and a clear place for work. Right before I made this, I thought to myself, I really wanted to get this done. I just wanted to sit down, do a little video, get it to editing. But I was like, you know, the floor could be swept. There's dishes to be done. The counter could be cleaned. A lot of stuff could be better. I could feel a little bit more comfortable. In order for our ideas and our tasks to be able to bloom, we have to make sure the debris is clear, right? One's wildlife needs to be kept ordered on a regular basis. Baba Yaga, when we met her, when we first came face to face, she showed us the unusual thoughts and places that we have inside of us, right? The wild, crazy nature. That needs to have order too. And if you think about it, if you have a beautiful rose bush or you have a beautiful tomato plant, if you just let that thing go crazy, yes, it'll go crazy, but soon you won't be able to gather certain tomatoes because they're blocking each other, or some will be rotting and falling to the ground because you haven't made it clear. You haven't swept away the old debris. You haven't trimmed away any dead leaves or clipped some branches to make new growth happen. Nature needs space to grow. Our mind is just like that, you guys. Just like I've said, our whole body is a garden and our thoughts are its seed. So if we have a dirty garden and a messy garden, our seeds can't grow. And then once our seeds start growing, we can't look away. We can't forget what we've done, right? I love it. Nature needs space to grow. So we have to keep that broom made of the plants from our garden and keep it clear. Allow new tasks and ideas to just come forward. So lastly, the third little task that we did for our 5th initiation task was we had to figure out how to cook for Baba Yaga. And with a creative life, you consistently have to have a flame. We've talked about this before when we want to be a candle lighter, right? We have to consistently have a flame underneath ourselves if we want to be able to go out there and light other people's candles, because some people have very, very dull candles. Some candles are burnt out, and we need enough flame and power and passion burning inside of us that when we go and help other people's candles, we don't diminish our own. So she learns that food cannot cook itself, and therefore fire cannot light itself. If you get a fire started, and you'll know this, if you are a wild woman and you have never built yourself a fire, I challenge you to do that. You have to go out there and learn how to be able to create and sustain a fire in real life. It'll really teach you a lot about the inner flame inside of you. It's hard. External things will come and try to hinder it, right? The wind, the rain. An animal might run by, right? Heck, who knows? But Baba Yaga teaches Vasilisa that, hey, once you get that fire going, you can't walk away. You can't look away. And she explains that's what a lot of women do. They forget that their fire is burning. If you think about it, if you do not tend and make sure that your fire is where it should be, it's the same thing that will happen if you allow your front porch, your hut, your yard to become bombarded with plants and sticks and debris. Soon, you're going to become a part of the mountain yourself. And that's not what Baba Yaga is. Baba Yaga is a fierce, powerful woman who is out here teaching. She's not easy to find, but she's there for those who are searching. Right? She has her burning flames, the skulls around her house that are consistently lit. She doesn't look away, right? And I love how she says, she's not a succulent. She's not a plant that can just be left untamed for 8 months and then it starts hurting, right? We're not cactus out here. We can't be put on a lettuce leaf and black coffee diet, right? Do not remain untamed and uncooked. Imagine, I see it, you guys. I see it with my own eyes. And I send them so much energy. There are so many women, influencers, young girls who are walking around here untamed and uncooked. And it's not only hurting them, but it is affecting the other people who come into contact with them. We have to be aware of the fire that is within us. It has to be tamed, and we have to consistently make sure what is being cooked are creative thoughts, are positive attributes, and it's confidence. Something that I wrote down in my notes that I think is very, very important, you guys, and I want us to really, really take this into consideration, is that ancient women, our ancestors, they are starving, you guys. They are so hungry for knowledge, to explore. They want to see the world that is now being built. You have to keep feeding the ancient sisters and mothers and grandmothers that are within us. Their legacy lives through us. So if we are hungry for creativity, for knowledge, for inspiration, for helping others, for nurturing, for growing things, their legacy lives through us. They see through our eyes. They hear our thoughts. Do you think that wild women, decades upon decades ago, who were goddesses of their villages, would want to hear the thoughts that certain women have? Do you think that they would want to listen to the music that is being produced or eat the foods that are being made in mass production? These women are living through us, and it is up to us to serve them, to teach them, to keep feeding them knowledge. They are that ever-flowing river within us. That's our intuition. That's the wild woman who helps us. If we silence her, if we bury her, if we misfeed her, if we just let the sticks stand on top of her, what are we doing? You know? It just baffles me. And I loved that that's where my mind went, because I've been having a very, very hard time lately trying to gather myself around the collective consciousness of women, and then what's happening within the world itself. The crazy, crazy world itself. It's wild out there. So now is the time where the entire world needs wild women to get themselves together. I loved, though, that's, like I was saying, that's where my mind went. I think that is a great lesson, a great thing to remember. These ancient women are hungry, so please help feed them. I can't do it by myself. I'm struggling. I really am. But I'm doing my best, I promise. I promise you. I have had to take my time, as you can see in this video. This whole month, I've basically been spending outside, having to reconnect with knowing that nature even needs space to grow. I need space to grow. We need space to grow. And that's not what the world wants. The world does not want wild women out here growing. I promise you that. I promise you. She is rhyme and she is reason. You need to seek the approval of a wild woman. Her stamp of approval. Remember, and I even wrote down, read the last sentence again. Seek the stamp of approval, the kind that always comes from old women who have lived a long time and who have seen much and somewhat wish they hadn't and are rather proud they have. There are wild women out there that have seen so much that we can learn from. Us out here thinking that we know all that there is to know, or that there isn't something for us to learn out in the depths of the forest, we can't think that way. That completes our 5th initiation task, which is serving the non-rational, learning about the death and renewal process of cleansing ourselves through water and purification, sweeping our hut in our yard with a broom made of plants, right, to allow nature to keep growing itself, and lastly, learning to cook for Baba Yaga, that these ancient women need a lot to eat, and it takes a lot to cook for them. So it's up to us to make sure we have a consistent flame inside of us, individually, innately, and beautifully, that can tend to the food a wild woman needs. We need to be able to do that, to cook for her. And like I said, these women are hungry. So I will see you guys in my next video. I told you in my last video that I have a lot of ideas and thoughts that I wanted to put out about what's happening in the current world. So yes, I've been taking notes on that. Yes. Can you please stop Carly, come here. Can we not act like we're head honcho of the neighborhood? No, ma'am. I'm sending you positive energy. Please don't forget to drink your water. Please don't forget to feed yourself more than just a coffee leaf and lettuce diet. Just like I tell myself, I need to eat more than just noodles and drink water. You know what I mean? So from one wild woman going through her initiation tasks to another, I will see you next time.